wilmingtonde.com/passport to learn more.
Coming up, the 2018 Baker Artist Awards, an artwork special. Find out who won next. Welcome to the 2018 Baker Artist Award Special. I'm Maria Feiken. Every year, the creative community holds its breath, anticipating the announcement of the prestigious Baker Artist Awards. Hundreds of artists from Baltimore and the 5 surrounding counties become eligible for an award when they post their work to the Baker Artist Portfolio website. Now this year, the prizes total $90,000. One awardee from each of 6 artistic disciplines is selected to receive a $10,000 Mary Sawyer's Baker Award. And from this group, one artist is chosen to receive the Mary Sawyer's Imboden Award, an additional $30,000 for a total of a $40,000 prize. 32 finalists were announced in February, and the identity of the awardees has been one of the area's best-kept secrets until now. First, though, we're going to check in with last year's winners to see the impact of the awards on their life and work. We begin with a profile of musician Susan Alcorn, who received the top prize, and then the 5 winners of last year's Mary Sawyer's Baker Awards. Let's see how the year went for these outstanding artists.
I play pedal steel guitar because, to my ears, it's the most beautiful sounding instrument there is. It's heavy and it's awkward, it's difficult to carry around, and it's especially difficult to play. But for me, there's a certain magic in that instrument that I don't hear anywhere else. So for when I'm improvising, I'm not really sure that I have accurate words to describe it. It's sort of a process, and it's kind of you kind of get in this weird state where eventually it seems like the notes are just coming down and going through you. And when that happens, I just feel like that's music, that's art. Winning the Baker Award was quite a watershed moment. Totally unexpected, because I've always felt like an outsider musician or an outsider artist. Winning the money was like, I was like a sailor in port, buying musical equipment, which enabled me to kind of do projects that I wouldn't have been able to do, to record things I ordinarily wouldn't have been able to do, and also the recognition. Is something that is priceless.
2017 was a hard year for a lot of us, and as a journalist who's also a creative writer, I felt I needed to put my energy in my journalism, but my heart was in that quieter work. The Baker came at just the right moment. It gave me hope, and it let me go and do that creative writing.
Winning the Baker was validating, inspirational, and I was able to rent additional studio space, which enabled me to expand my artistic vision.
Winning the Baker meant so much to me. It really allowed me to pursue some new exhibition opportunities that I probably in the past would have been hesitant to go after.
Winning the Baker was a huge honor. I'm so grateful to everyone at the Baker for giving me the time and the space this year to relax and just really grow as an artist into this new project. So.
It closed the period of certain creation, and it opened a new path for new creation.
Congratulations again to these amazing artists. This year, the Baker Fund has launched some really exciting new initiatives. And so to hear more about them, I'm very proud to introduce a very good friend of mine, an artist herself, and a major force in the arts community, Connie Imboden. Connie, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, Rhea, thank you so much for having me here again.
So, 10 years. This is truly a big time for you, and you're doing a lot of good things, aren't you?
We are. We've got a lot of exciting programs, and we're closing in on a very exciting milestone. We've almost given out $1 million to individual artists.
You are kidding me.
No, isn't that exciting?
Is fabulous. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So tell us about this year and the celebration.
Well, we start in September 12th, with the Biennial exhibition at the Baltimore Museum of Art. Our visual artists from 2017 and 2018 will be having an exhibition, and then the winners from 2018, the performers, the musicians, and the other disciplines, will be putting on a performance that night. We've been doing this all 10 years, and it's such a fun evening.
And it's open to the public, isn't it?
Open to the public.
I think a lot of people are going to be there. So what else?
Well, this is an exciting thing we're calling Off the Web. We are inviting every visual artist who has an active portfolio on the Baker Portfolio site to bring a piece and exhibit it at the Peel Center for History and Architecture.
How many people do you think are going to be there?
I think it's going to be a lot. I think it's going to be wonderfully chaotic, exciting, and fun.
Oh, I do too. I think that's such a great idea. So much is going on. What about for the performance artists?
We are doing an evening of excellence in collaboration with Contemporary Arts, which is an organization started and run by Barbara and Carl Grubbs. Carl was a major winner our first year, and ever since then, he has invited all of the performing musical artists, the Baker artists, to come and celebrate an evening of collaboration and performance. And I have to say, this is a free event, as all of our events are, but we're showcasing some of the best performers in the city.
What about the decade of previous winners?
Well, we've got something up our sleeves for that. We are having a 10-year retrospective at Maryland Art Place, and this is for our visual artists. We're inviting the artists from the last 10 years to have an exhibition here, show us what they've been doing for the last 10 years, and a chance for us to get together with them again and see what's going on in their lives.
Well, it's going to be an amazing year, one worthy of the 10 years that preceded it. I just want to tell you what a wonderful thing you've done, Connie, and I hope that you're very proud of what's gone on in the last 10 years.
I am very proud.
And we're very proud of you. So thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
And now it's time to announce the winners of the $10,000 Mary Sawyer's Baker Prizes. These artists demonstrate excellence in 3 areas: mastery of craft, depth of artistic exploration, and unique vision. Their range of creativity includes a featured TED Talk speaker, internationally recognized music and theater artists, and genre-bending experimentation. And so congratulations to the 2018 Mary Sawyer's Baker Award winners. Leacy Stossel, performance.
I think I have a deep desire to create fantastical worlds.
Oh, look at all of these specimens! Yeah,
I also have a fascination with the human figure, which is kind of a through line through my visual art, puppetry, set design, and immersive theater work, my performance. At some point through working with puppets, I was shoved onto a stage, and I loved it. And I realized that I love using my own body to express my art, as well as my visual art skills. I like sort of keeping myself on edge a little bit in terms of what I dream up. I like to shock myself a little bit sometimes. When I'm designing a set, it tends to use a different part of my brain than I use when I'm performing. So in my design work, I'm often dealing with numbers, I'm dealing with measurements, and when I'm performing, I tend to want to shut that part of my brain off and be a much more intuitive maker. The fun for me with these owner characters in H.T. Darling's Incredible Museum was being able to inhabit two characters at once, a puppet character that I fabricated, living on the lower half of my body, and a human character that I acted, inhabiting the upper part of my body. I have less of an end goal with my art than I have a desire and a drive to just make in the first place.
Abraham Burickson, Interdisciplinary Arts.
Odyssey Works is a performance company that makes weekend-long, week-long, months-long performances for one-person audiences. I started doing Odyssey Works because I was a poet and architect, and I was concerned with the fact that you create a piece of work, it goes out into the world, and some people get it and other people have a totally different experience of it than you were intending. And I got together with my friend Matthew and we said, what if we just found that one person who got it and made our work just for them? Okay.
Hey, big reveal.
What is the Odyssey Works Box? It's a tour through our work.
And here we have the USB drive. They'll get the audio tour.
And all the instructions are right there. And we wanted people to have an experience of our art that wasn't watching a video or reading a book. I mean, that's my favorite, I have to admit. Something that was tactile and human, something that brought you deeply into this way of working. It's its own performance. So you open the box, you take off the lid, and there it is. It's this treasure that you found, like a buried treasure. You have a book, and this book was made for the piece. It was a forgery of an Italo Calvino book. Stories are symmetrical and lovely. It's the Bologna, everything beautiful, everything symmetrical. And it becomes baloney. The stories fall apart. They become images. Even the page numbers fall off. Messy stuff, our kind of work. And we wanted to make a piece that connected the two. This was the DNA. Diagrams themselves, there are scripts. That's Carl's diagram. Mind, body, over time. The aim is the exact same aim that I think most artists have, which is to create a deeply felt experience. Just to see the world seeing you.
Margaret Rorison, Film and Video.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sort of an introvert, and I like spending a lot of time thinking, and making films allows me to process experiences in my life, or it's a way for me to articulate a feeling that I don't really know how to articulate through language. Memory of August is a short film that I made documenting my grandmother when she was in a month-long rehab center. Her Alzheimer's was getting worse, and I didn't know how long she would live, and so I was thinking a lot about mortality and what she felt, you know, getting older, and the pain that she felt and the confusion she felt, and I felt like I could really observe that through her facial expressions. I'm really drawn to how light and texture and form help activate a memory. Whenever I would travel, I would shoot various urban and rural landscapes and do a lot of field recordings with sound, and so these films sort of became odes to a space or a memory and a moment in time, and it helped me process what I was feeling when I was navigating that space. For me, it always starts with emotion, and then I work through the emotion and start to think about what the emotion means conceptually. I like taking a lot of chance, and I like often starting with one little interest and then just pushing it or experimenting or exploring and treating each film like a puzzle or a little investigation.
Dora Malik, Literary Arts.
Love poem. If by truth you mean hand, then yes. I hold to be self-evident and hold you in the highest. KO to my OT and bait to my switch. I crown you one-trick pony to my one-horse town. I'm a poet not because I have all these amazing things to say or all these amazing insights, but because I turn to language to explore uncertainty. W, my one-stop shopping, my space heater, juke joint, tourist trap. I am somebody who is in love with language and play within language and sound and rhythm and rhyme. And for me, language itself could just carry me away like a flash flood. I could get completely lost in the sounds and the rhythms and the rhymes that I love. And so for me, when I talk about pressure and putting pressure on that language, it's a pressure on myself to ask my own pleasure to cohere into something meaningful for a reader and something meaningful for me. Tell me you'll dismember this night forever. You, my punch drunking bag, tar to my feather, more than the sum of our... My life without poetry might be simpler, but it would be a lot less exciting, a lot less surprising, a lot less fun for me. And there would be a lot less of a sense of attention to the world around me. If and, then but. If then My fruit bat, my gewgaw, you had me at no duh.
Lafayette Gilchrist, music.
Stories of how I got into jazz. You know, I don't think I chose it so much as it chose me. When it's working and when it all comes together, it is a transcendent experience. Trying to function as a composer in improvisational music, that's always been an interesting process for me to see. Because when you play without a set of chord changes or a time signature, when you're playing what we call in the big room, completely open, then you're responsible individually for handling all elements of music, i.e. rhythm, melody, harmony, spiritual feeling, you know, and energy. That all happens in real time, you know, while we're playing. the future of jazz is something that we have to hash out, and do enough human beings want that and to have it in its fullest expression. And that's ever changing. It's something that we all have to decide is important. We have to decide if we can live with it or live without it.
The Baker Artist Awards demonstrate a wholehearted belief that arts and culture are indeed essential to individuals and communities. And I think that you can see for yourself why each of these passionate artists received their award. So once again, congratulations and good luck to the 2018 Baker Artist Award winners. And now it's a privilege to announce the recipient of the Mary Sawyer's Imboden Award. It's been a transformational year for this painter. Among other recognitions, besides the top Baker Award, she made history by landing the commission to paint the portrait of former First Lady Michelle Obama. And so congratulations to Amy Sherald, Visual Arts.
I paint portraits because growing up, it was what I considered art. I mean, it was what I saw in encyclopedias of what represented art. So becoming an artist meant being able to render the figure. I knew that I wanted to be an artist around the time that I was in the 2nd grade. I'm not sure I knew what that meant, but I knew that drawing was something that I liked to do, and I knew that I would rather do that than be around people. It found me. Yeah, I did not find that style found me. I don't really have a descriptor for my style. I loosely attach myself to the genre of American realism. Being that I consider myself mostly self-taught, it's just how I paint. It's how I see, it's how I paint. My subjects are people of color because I choose to paint and put out in the world idealized versions of myself. Also realizing that if you look at the art historical canon, there's a lack of representation of people that look like me. And that was enough reason for me not to want to paint anybody else but myself. I don't place my figures within a context because I want the viewer to have a singular experience with the person that's in the portrait. The person that's in the portrait, they're aware of the viewer and they're aware that they're in this painting, if you will. So since my work is a meditation on photography, a lot of the images that were taken of African Americans at one point in time were anthropological, so it's also a critique on that frontal position. It's a soft confrontation, and I also hang my paintings a little bit lower than they would normally be hung because I want them and the viewer to actually have a real interaction. For me, Michelle Obama's portrait, beyond the professional and the historical aspects of it, I think it changed who I was as a woman. I think it gave me permission to ask for more of myself and ask more of others. Success has not changed me. It has given me more agency to do things that I want to do in the community. It's given me social leverage. I don't consider myself an activist, but I consider myself a humanist and somebody who is aware of what I have and what other people don't have, and to share what I have gained with other people. I see myself evolving as a painter at this point, mostly because I have a bigger budget, and so it's going to be easier for me to make some of these larger paintings that I've been wanting to make for years, but just didn't have the money to make them. And I'm not putting any pressure on myself to become a different person. I just am pursuing my practice in the same way that I would, but with the ability to fund some of the bigger ideas that I have.
Congratulations to Amy Sherald. We can't wait to see what she accomplishes this year. And thank you for joining us for the 2018 Baker Artist Awards. Congratulations once again to all of the prize winners. To learn more about these artists and hundreds of others in our area, please check out the Baker Artist Portfolio website. It's a remarkable exploration of creativity across all disciplines, visited by tens of thousands of people worldwide. Our thanks go out to the William G. Baker Jr. Memorial Fund, which created and supports the Baker Artist Awards and Portfolio website. Also, thanks to the Greater Baltimore Cultural Alliance, which manages the Baker Artist Portfolios and Awards. For Maryland Public Television and Artworks, I'm Rhea Fiken. Please stay tuned for more music by Lafayette Gilchrist with the credits. We'll be back next week. Thanks for watching.
TV Worth Watching is supported by the members of MPT and by
The Harlem Fine Art Show returns to Washington, D.C. June 14th through 17th, celebrating the arts and artists of the African diaspora with over 80 artists, galleries, special events, and more. For tickets and a full schedule, hfas.org. The Frederick Festival of the Arts in downtown Frederick on June 2nd and 3rd. Over 100 artists from across the country. Live music on 4 stages, artist demos, children's activities, food and beer gardens. See art, do art, buy art at the Frederick Festival of the Arts. Don't miss out on all the latest show updates, previews, behind-the-scenes clips, and more. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. In the know, on the go.
You're watching member-supported Maryland Public Television. TV Worth Watching is supported by the members of MPT and by...
Tonight's broadcast of MPT's Friday Night Mystery is made possible by Vantage House.
Location and lifestyle, 2 important features to look for when considering retirement living options. Vantage House,